let's start here. First of all, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming back to day 3 of my masterclass on confidence boost for profit and business and joy in life. Let's start with a bit of housekeeping. So again, a reminder that today there is going to be another giveaway. And today's giveaway will be The Dip by Seth Godin. I'm sure you're familiar with Seth. He's a marketing guru. And it's a super thin book, but it is just packed with value. And the reason why I've picked this book is because it talks about how to know when to quit. And I think it is a conversation that we should have more often in our lives, in both professional and personal life. And I think we all struggle with answering that question, with knowing when to quit, right? I have to say, I would like to say that I have mastered the art of quitting. I've quit so many times, and I've quit big things. I've quit businesses. I've quit a successful business, this business, coaching business that I started in 2012. If you were with me on Monday, I told you about how I started my coaching business. First of all, as an expat coach in 2012, and I ramped it up really quickly, and it was very successful. But then I decided to quit, and it wasn't an easy decision, but I made that decision relatively quickly, and made it happen very quickly. Although the effects of that decision of quitting have been with me for quite a long time, I would say for about a year. But that gave me a new opportunity. That opened the next door in my life for me, which was going to China. And of course, again, if you were with me on Monday, my family and I, we were in China for 5.5 years. We only came back last year. And it was because of my husband's expat assignment. And had I not given myself that freedom to say no and to quit relatively quickly, I wouldn't have allowed my husband to create that gap in his life, that opportunity in his life to go and find that job and to accept that job. That wouldn't have happened. And had we not gone to China, of course, we wouldn't have had so many wonderful experiences, but also our third child was born in China. And had we not gone, it is unlikely that we would have had her. And I'll be completely honest with you. The reason for that is because our 2 oldest girls were born 18 months apart. So one was born in 2007, the other one was born in 2008. So really one after the other. And we wanted to have more children, but it was like having twins. It was really hard. At one point, it was really hard. And we live away from both of our parents, from families, don't have anyone nearby. And having 2 little ones so close together was really, really hard on both of us. More so on me, of course, but also on him. And we talked about having another child, but it was that type of a conversation when one says, well, if you want to, then let's do it. And then the other one says, well, if you want to, then let's do it. That's the conversation that me and my husband had when we talked about more children. But when we came to China, we had more opportunities. We had very, very affordable childcare. We had very affordable house help. So it became clear and sort of obvious to us that that was the right time to continue with growing our family and to welcome another little one into our family. So we became a family of 5. So I think this is a great little read. Nothing rocket science here, but really just a good little book about quitting. And I'm sharing this story with you because today's conversation, today's subject is all going to be about gaining clarity. Yesterday we talked about becoming aware of your strengths and what the strengths do for you. But today I want to talk about gaining clarity, about action, about how to make decisions, how to set priorities, and everything about decision making. Okay, so I'm just gonna carry on and talk about how we block success. Have you thought about this? Has it ever occurred to you that we often regardless of how well we do, of what good experts we are, of how good at manifesting we are, of how good we are bringing excellent results to our clients, we still block that success. So blocking success, or should I say, we block success when we try too hard. When we try too hard, when we're just out there, not at our 100%, but more like 120, 150%. We just try too hard. We try to do everything, literally trying to stick our fingers into every single situation. And then we find ourselves unhappy, burnt out, not delivering how we said we would deliver. So be careful not to block success, not to push yourself too hard. And what has worked for me, and what I always advise everyone, all of my clients, but also people in my life, my friends and my family, it's a constant reminder, and also a constant reminder for myself, is to take small steps and fewer steps. Now, I will give you an example directly from this week. Of course, I have this masterclass planned every day this week, and I've got other jobs lined up. And if you were with me on Monday, you know that I had lots of challenges come my way. Things didn't work. My middle daughter got COVID. Some other things have come on my way, and this and that. Yesterday was a better day. Yesterday was quite nice and calm. Although towards the evening, I started feeling quite achy, and I thought, oh no, now I'm going to have COVID too. Well, luckily, no. I must have just been tired. And then today I had a series of events rushing towards me in the morning, even though I had lots of jobs lined up again. I only really had an opportunity to get one of those jobs, but a huge, really, really big task done this morning. But it took so much of me. And I've sat down to one thing that I try to do as often as I can. I'm not going to lie that I do it every day, but as often as I can, and whenever I have time, I will sit down in the morning and spend a little bit of time with myself in my head, and I'll journal. That is one habit that I would like to develop and stick to. But, honestly speaking, it doesn't work all the time. But anyway, when I journaled this morning, I've realized that I've actually done so well at making sure that I didn't have any other major conversations and any major commitments to people, real people, this week, because it's Wednesday and things that still keep coming my way. Some sort of distractions, some sort of barriers keep on popping up. And for the rest of the week, tomorrow morning, I have a dental appointment for which I had to wait for a good month. So I hope I won't miss it. And on Friday, I have another appointment. I just have to go and drop some documents at the local center. So I hope, that will be okay. But this is what I mean by saying that set just 2-3 tasks for you to do. But when you accomplish them, when you get them done, they are your main jobs for the day or for the week, you will feel happy. You will feel accomplished, and therefore you will feel confident. So when I journaled this morning, I actually said to myself, I said, well done me for making sure that I have committed myself to this training today, and everything else that I'm doing on the side is important, of course, but it is sort of like number 2 priority. And I'm just doing it that this is this week's top task. Let's talk about mentally comparing ourselves to other people. I'm sure that you're aware that there are more and more people out there who are in need of your work, whatever it is that you do, of my work, of whatever it is that we do. But we find people who are in the same industry or do the same job in the same position. And we, of course, compare ourselves. Yeah. And it seems that, say, if you're a dentist, then you're surrounded by dentists. If you're a coach, then you're surrounded by coaches. If you're an accountant, then everyone around you is an accountant. That's not the reality. This is just like what we attract, yeah? And people need you and the work that you do. And when you find yourself comparing, then redirect your focus on to those people who need your work. And I would like to mention that looking at those who are successful in our arena, not even necessarily in our arena, in our industry, but also in other industries, It's quite a good sort of example setter, because think of those people who are successful. Think of them as a reminder at what you can achieve or where you can go. And think about it this way: when you give, you will receive. In fact, this was my mantra for today, that little affirmation that I have set up for myself this morning. I give and I receive. I hope you like it. Write it down for yourself. Actively bring attention to the value you provide, not instead of the work that you're doing, and instead of expecting others to know what it is that you are doing. And don't resist. If you find resistance in your life, pay attention to it, because resistance is evil. It keeps you from having the life you want, both at work and at home. Learning how to recognize resisting and working through it is one of the greatest favors you will ever do in your life. This one thing, this one job that I had to do today, I've been resisting doing for a long time. So much so, it's something private, a family affair. And I told my husband that I desperately didn't want to do it, and I've been resisting it for weeks. And I told him, I'm not doing this, I'm not getting involved. Finally, I've given in, and I've sat down and I had it done this morning. Like I said, a big job, and I'm happy. I now feel the weight of my shoulders has gone. I've reassessed. Again, I had a little conversation with myself this morning, and I've evaluated as to why I was resisting, what it was holding, how it was holding me, and why I was holding myself from doing that task. And this is what I realized, that once you learn how to identify that resistance, you make peace with it, you understand why you've been resisting, a significant jump forward occurs. And I know I did this job this morning. The next step that is going to happen is going to be next Monday, whereas originally I thought that it's going to be weeks. So once you overcome that resistance, there's going to be a significant jump forward in your life. And the same, think about if you are maybe resisting feedback, whether about your work, or whether about your parenting skills, or whether about your relationships. Why are you not taking it in? Is it because of resistance? Is it something that you can re-evaluate and really think as to where you want to be with that? And could you accept that feedback and overcome that resistance? Do you ever get shiny objects popping into your life? I know I do. I know that I am a master of getting distracted. I know that when I see things in my professional life, I go, oh, I can do this. I know how to do that. If they can do this, then I can do it. This is easy. I will do this. And I know this about myself. And I basically take on so much. And then I fail, or I get burnt out, or I get unhappy. And that was actually one of the reasons why I quit my previous coaching business before. So how to learn to avoid the shiny object syndrome? Imagine we all have a radar around us, right? Just like the big machines, the big radars. We women, we tend to process information differently from men. We tend to process information with the left side of the brain. It's sort of like lights up in our brain in different regions, taking in multiple details. That's why we're so good at multitasking. By contrast, when men process info, their brain activities tend to concentrate on only one region. That also explains why men are so good at just focusing on one thing, and why, if they're doing something and we women try to distract them, they know where they're, right? You tell them 100 times and he still hasn't received the memo. So as a result, women's attention operates like a radar, scanning for the environment, picking up broad range of clues, and paying attention to the context. Man is more laser focused, focusing tightly and absorbing all the information. So there's an interesting Buddhist concept which says that you're not a master, you're always a beginner. And this is what the concept says. The idea that you should approach everything like a beginner, so you don't just get stuck on autopilot. So when we're so confident in ourselves, we're so confident in our abilities, we're overconfident. We do something so well that we start doing it on autopilot. Yeah. And this concept says, well, no, actually step back and look at it from as a beginner. So your mind is always refreshed. And it's such a good reminder for all of us in all aspects of our lives to just take a step back and to look at yourself as a beginner. I remember years ago, when I was working as a language trainer for this training company, I've substituted one of our trainers, and I've delivered the training a few times myself. And I've trained a group of a sales team, I think there were, and their manager was on the training with them. And I don't remember what he asked, but he said something so basic, so simple, that it made the whole group laugh. And I was quite fascinated by the fact that the whole group were laughing at their own manager. I thought, okay, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to think. I thought it's a bit strange that they laugh at their manager, but then I thought perhaps there was a very good relationship between the team and the manager. But the point is not about what the question was. The point is that he also had a laugh with the group. And then he said, well, I manage the team. I have to know all the details about this project. I have to know everything. And that stuck with me forever. That always stuck. I don't remember his name. I wish I did. I just remember his big smile, his bright eyes, and the way that he said that I'm the manager. I have to know what goes on. And that was such a simple, basic question. And he was not afraid to make himself look as a fool in front of his whole team. He welcomed people, laugh at him. He shared a laugh with him. But he, in my opinion, he lived by this Buddhist concepts of the beginner approach. He stepped back. He didn't, go on autopilot. He decided to refresh his knowledge. Okay. Reframing is very powerful as a tool for making decisions and setting priorities, because it doesn't force you to choose the thoughts racing through your head, actually racing through your mind, and whatever it is that you would like to achieve. By acknowledging that you are feeling, by acknowledging what you're feeling, and finding strength in those feelings, recognizing those feelings as part of, your emotions, you harness that radar to banish and to choose something from the side. Again, that's something that I've mentioned to you over the last few days. If you step back and you reframe, and if you keep thinking about the radar that I described to you before, the multitasking that we do, acknowledging your feelings, how you feel, then you will automatically lean towards the side which is more natural, which is more comfortable for you. And again, a reminder about perfection is always an enemy. Perfection is an enemy of good. Don't organize and don't imagine that you need to show up in the perfect place and get everything done right, to get every step right. The trick is just get going. How many of you here are procrastinators? I know I am. I have been. I probably will be. But what I have done recently, I've realized that procrastination for me personally is not always a bad thing. I used to think of procrastination as something, as laziness, I suppose. I really don't want to do it, therefore I won't do it, or like I don't like doing it, therefore I'm going to step away. I'm going to try and put it away until the last minute. What I've actually realized is two things. First of all, I'm very good at delivering last minute. I'm very good at delivering under pressure. So that's one of the things why I sometimes procrastinate. I suppose maybe it's like a natural instinct, like an animal instinct, I suppose. I wait until the last minute because I know this is when my best performers come in, and then I do it. And the second thing, I know that I procrastinate when I don't love what I do. I don't love the scenario, the project, or whatever I'm working on 100%. If I feel that it's not mine, the idea is not mine, the love is not there, the passion is not there, I will put it away for as long as possible. So now that I have identified those two reasons for myself, I realized that actually procrastination is not all that bad. So when I find myself in a situation when I should really be doing something, I said to myself, I will do this and I will do this today. But then I find myself not doing it or switching to another scenario. I now know that I just need a second to refocus, to try to understand what's going on. Is it because I know that I will deliver and I need that last, well, depending on what it is, last day, last few hours, to get it done? Or I really I'm not in love with what I'm doing, and so that's there's got to be another answer, another strategy for what you're going to do if you don't love it. I think there is so much negativity about certain aspects of productivity, such as procrastination and time management and decision making, that it makes us feel very scared. Like, oh my goodness, or I'm a procrastinator, I can't make decisions, there's so much choice, I don't know how to set priorities. All of this, it makes people really anxious and therefore frustrated, and because of that they don't get their jobs done, and because of that they're very unhappy in their lives. But if you think about procrastination, if you unpack procrastination for yourself and find why you actually really procrastinate, then you will welcome it into your life. If you look at how setting priorities really works for you, if you are good at just doing, say, setting just one task for yourself daily, 2 tasks or 3 tasks, maybe it is 1 task per week, or maybe you look at it as a weekly or monthly approach. Say, for example, this month, I have 12 jobs from the top of my head, 12 jobs that I have to accomplish. And that's it. And this is how you do it. All of a sudden, your vision, your understanding of how much you achieve shifts. It becomes a completely different picture. And when you reach that goal, or you do those tasks, you look back and you think, my goodness, I've done so much. Well done, me. So we just talked about setting priorities and focusing on procrastination and decision making. Decision making is just a process. It's nothing more than a process. And there are 2 ways of approaching decision making. First is via your intuition. And I'm sure, are we all women on the call today? I think we are. We are very in tune with our intuition, right? Listen to your gut. What does it tell you? Go ahead with it or don't. 95% of the time, your gut will be right. Your intuition will be there with you. It will lead you in the right way. And the second way of approaching decision-making is through reasoning. So you have your stats, you have your details, your for and against, depending on what it is. Say, for example, you're choosing a school for your child and you decide, is it in the right location? Is it the right, do they have the right subjects that I want my child to learn? Am my child happy with this? And so on, this criteria. So you assess it scientifically through reasoning, and then you make a decision. Okay, and this, my friends, is the lesson for today: creating clarity about next decision making and setting priorities. And through this, we start acting on boosting our confidence. Today, I talk about how we block our success, about the radar that we have, how we women process our information, about setting priorities, about identifying resistance and getting rid of it, about decision making and procrastination. How did you find today's session? Sarah says, another inspiring session. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, so much for coming. Elena, inspiring. Thank you. Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Elena. Petra, thank you for your inspiring inputs. Yes, the way to set priorities is a life example. Absolutely, Petra. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Well, on this note, again, one last reminder, send your questions for life coaching on Thursday and Friday into my inbox. You can always find me on LinkedIn or via my email if you want to talk to me. Otherwise, I wish you all a wonderful day, and I will see you again on Thursday and Friday, same link, same time. Okay?